Hello, Home Slices is here with Home Slice Adulting coming to you all with my review for the season finale of season 10's Real Housewives of Atlanta. It's episode number 18, and we have finally come to the close of the season. I know we're all very happy for it. I'm happy and want to give myself a pat on the back for being able to actually go through with and complete or come very close to completing the entire season of Real Housewives of Atlanta, being here to review it with you guys. Also, really quickly, I want to thank everyone who is a subscriber of mine because I have recently reached 300 subscribers. I've had my YouTube channel for a little while now, and I took a 5-month-long hiatus in the middle a little bit, and things kind of slacked off for me last year around this time. But now I'm back on track, and I really am appreciating and loving all of the growth, all of the comments, the responses, and the likes, and even the dislikes. I mean, you know, it all comes with the territory. So thank you to those of you who have subscribed. If you are not subscribed yet, I suggest that you do so. This channel is just about reviewing stuff, mostly reviewing popular TV shows, talking about our thoughts on those TV shows and whatnot. So, and reviewing some, products as well. So check it out. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can know when I post my next video. All that being said, let's get into this review. I don't want this review to be very long, so I'm pretty much going to read my notes verbatim so we can go ahead and get this over with. This episode kind of only got exciting towards the end, but I will say this. This season has been a little bit lackluster compared to some of the previous seasons, but the reunion looks like it's going to be very promising, and that's very weird. Typically, the best reunions come from the most drama-filled seasons, but this season had like a little bit of drama, but the reunion looked promising, so we'll see. But let's get started. We'll talk about Porsha. We started off seeing her on Dish Nation with Vivica A. Fox as a guest, and Vivica gave Porsha her props, saying that Porsha was doing a pretty good job. I thought that was nice. I think Vivica needs to stop with the surgeries. She was always a beautiful woman, and I just think the surgeries just kind of botched her a little bit. But next we see Porsha at the Fox Theater preparing for the Two Can Play That Game performance, and Kenya and Cynthia came to the play to support her. And for whatever reason, in that particular confessional that Kenya was in, she came off, we all know that Kenya is shady, but when she throws shade, she typically is like very lighthearted about it, and it's funny, and she's laughing. But like the shade that she was throwing in that particular confessional about Porsha's play came off a little bit as mean, like her demeanor was like totally different. But Kenya was shading Porsha about playing a character that's true to type. Okay, I was like, that was unwarranted or whatever. And we forget that Kenya and Vivica A. Fox had it out on a season of The Apprentice because Kenya was being immature and silly. Something about stealing a cell phone, I'm not really sure, but Vivica and Kenya do not see eye to eye, and that explains why Kenya is shading Vivica's, face after the surgeries. But, we were all thinking it. And so Kenya and Cynthia come backstage to say hi, and Porsha doesn't know why Sheree didn't come, and we find out about that later. So next we see Eva and Candy having a play date with their 2 children in the pumpkin patch. Eva has a birthday coming up. Apparently it is October 30th, and and Candy convinces Eva to throw a Halloween party and invite the girls, kind of, I guess, expand Eva's circle in Atlanta, get her to meet some new people and, become comfortable moving to a new place. Now, Candy wants to invite Kim, and I felt like that was a bad idea, but whatever. And then Candy has pause when Eva wants to invite Porsha. And it's like, okay, you can't have it both ways. You can't be inviting people that don't get along with other people and then get mad when somebody invites somebody that you don't get along with. Moving on. Next, we see Nene, Cynthia, and Eva at a Halloween shop. The party is in a decommissioned church, which is interesting. They're kind of getting like Love and Hip Hop New York. Y'all know how they keep rehearsing in their church. Like, who does that? But at least this church was decommissioned, okay? Anyways, Cynthia's going to bring Will. I don't understand why they're still together. I feel like Will can't really be trusted, but whatever. Cynthia spills the tea about Kandi inviting Kim, and that Kandi doesn't think that Kim is a racist, and Nene just doesn't want to hear it. She just don't want to talk about Kim no more. And the fact that she's known Kim longer than anybody means that she should know Kim better than anybody. But we talk about Porsha. And so Nene says that she wants to get the peanut gallery together to observe Porsha saying that she royally effed up and that she apologizes. And I don't know what this has to do with Nene. I don't know if she's kind of being messy or if she really is trying to bring Porsha back into the fold so that she can get along with the girls again. And even so, even if Nene's intentions are pure, which I believe in this instance, it is weird that Nene is so concerned about something that occurred on the season that she wasn't even on the show. I think this is maybe another instance where Nene is trying to be a big sister to Porsha, and Porsha is just not up for receiving that type of support from somebody. But next we see Kandi and Sheree. Sheree is showing off the basement in her house, and only 2 people show up. Okay. Anyways, Kandi shaded Sheree right away at the front door for not having a welcome mat. Sheree is super duper excited to show off her basement. Those are her words, not mine. And I told you all, she's only motivated by being messy and by showing off. So Sheree invited everyone, like I said, but nobody was available because they have jobs, Sheree, unlike you who just sit around making it your job to renovate. But moving on, Cynthia shows up and Sheree shades Cynthia IKEA furniture. And it's like, why would you shade one of the only 2 people who showed up at your event? Why would you do that? Why would you shade somebody who is there to support you and celebrate the fact that you actually finished your house? It took a long time, but you actually totally finished the house. Why would you do that to somebody who actually showed up? All the people that you invited, she showed up, and you're going to shade her and her furniture in her house that's on a lake that she didn't spend 4 years trying to build up and put together. Come on, Sheree. I can't. And Sheree was just living in like a 2-bedroom condo with her 2 grown kids like a year and a half ago. So get it together. Kandi says that Sheree must have sold a lot of books. We're all wondering where she got the money to renovate that basement. Now, speaking of renovating basements, I looked it up, and the estimate is that it costs about $10 to $35 per square foot to renovate a basement. Mind you, Sheree's basement is 5,000 square feet. So that means she had to spend at least $50,000 to renovate. So it may have been like a 6-figure renovation considering how expensive Sheree's taste is. So, where did she get that money? That's inquiring minds want to know. But moving on, the basement looks nice, and Cynthia had a point. What is Sheree gonna do with all this house? All of her children is grown, and she don't have a man to put in the man cave because he's in prison. Sheree having this big house is just showing off and being overly opulent when I don't think that she necessarily has the coinage to back that up. Now, mind you, Atlanta is pretty good for like the real estate scene. Like you can get a really nice house for the cheap compared to other parts of the country. However, does Sheree's income from Real Housewives of Atlanta or whatever side project she might be working on support her having this house? We don't know. We'll see. The house is probably in her mama's name, as a lot of people have speculated. But we'll see. Moving on, Sheree has a massage therapist come over to work on Cynthia and Kandi, and Sheree received word that Porsha told Shamia not to trust any of the girls, even Sheree. Now, first off, Sheree can't be trusted to hold water because she's a bone collector. So it's not like the statement is not true. Do not trust Sheree with any of your personal business because it will get out there, okay? So not to trust Sheree is not something that we don't know. It's not like Sheree has built up this reputation of being a trustworthy person because she hasn't. But moving on, second off, Porsha was upset in the moment that she left Barcelona, and she could have just been speaking out of frustration. The problem I have here is that Porsha messed up one time with one person, and now she doesn't get a pass on anything. And it makes me feel bad for Porsha. And on one hand, it's like, well, Porsha has to suffer the consequences of her actions. And then on the other hand, it's like, can the girl get a break? But anyway, how did Sheree find out about this? We'll learn about that later. And Sheree said that she's done, but she hasn't even had a conversation with Porsha. Like, I can understand Sheree being upset because she has been more supportive of Porsha compared to the other girls in the group. So I understand her frustration, but the fact that she hasn't talked to Porsha about it or allowed Porsha to explain herself is like silly. Like, if somebody does something to hurt you in that way, especially if you receive the information secondhand, you should definitely give that person a chance to explain, which eventually doesn't happen, but we'll talk about that later. And Sheree says that Kim only tolerated Porsha because of Sheree. Shut up, Sheree. Sheree really got on my nerves this season. She don't need to come back. We'll see how long she can keep that house if she's not back on the next season. Moving on, we have Candy. She's singing and practicing. Candy is doing the most. She has the Escape tour. Then right after that, she, is doing Broadway. So she's not really taking a break or whatever, but she wants her family to come with her for the full tour. Moving on. Next, we have the Halloween party. Eva is dressed up as Cleopatra. Candy and Todd are Pennywise the Clown and Run DMC. Cynthia is 50 Cent. She definitely had the best costume. It was very funny. She did a really good job. Noelle was a super cute flight attendant, and Will was Poindexter. Kenya came in as a Victoria's Secret model. Sheree is Cleopatra #2. Kim is a Playboy bunny, and Croy is Hugh Hefner. And we find out that this is the first time that Noelle and Will met up together. I feel like Cynthia and Will are not going to last. I feel like we'll talk about that later because she talks to a psychic. So I don't think Will can be trusted. There's something off about him. But Marlo shows up, and I totally forgot about her because we haven't seen her since Barcelona. But she had her most current sponsor with her, playing Mr. Blakemore from Babs, and she played Halle Berry's character from Babs. What floored me, though, was when Kenya in her confessional had the nerve to say that she was shocked to see that Marlo paid a white man to come to the party with her, when we've heard that Kenya has paid multiple people to be on Real Housewives with her. Ain't that the pot calling the kettle black? Kenya, you can shut up, okay? Assuming that Lauren came as Zombie Bride #2. But Nene and Greg come in as an exterminator Roach, and I cracked up. I thought it was very funny. It was very funny to me. And I think it was in good humor. It was fun. And I liked it. I mean, it was hilarious to me. But moving on, Kim and Croy kind of looked like shamed at first, but then Croy said that he loved it and that it was good in good humor. And Kim was all mad about it, and she was like, well, what else can she be when she had roaches in her house? And Eva was like, oh, that's my cue to get on out of here. See, Eva understands. I mean, Eva said earlier that she hopes that Kim is not racist, but you know, if you keep harping on the bug stuff, which has some racial connotations regarding stereotypes of Black people having roaches, you know, Eva was like, let me get out of here. Maybe Kim is not worth getting to know. Okay. But moving on, Kim shades Eva at her own party and says that she's not even a pretty Cleopatra compared to Sheree. And then Real Housewives production shades Sheree. They go around to all the confessionals and ask everybody what they thought of Sheree's Cleopatra. And they were like, forgettable. They said Sheree was forgettable. And she was. Moving on. Cynthia goes to see a psychic, and the psychic tells her that it's too soon for her to date somebody, but that she thinks that the person that is interested in Cynthia will be around for a long time. Now, Cynthia assumes that it's Will, might be Peter, y'all. We don't know. I just really don't think that Cynthia and Will are a good match. I also don't think the timing is right. Like the psychic said, it's too soon for her, after being divorced. But moving on. Finally, the issue with Sheree and Porsha comes to a head. Sheree is so upset about what she heard that Porsha said that she's bringing up the topic with anger in her voice, and that catches Porsha off guard. So here's the deal. Shamea told Sheree that Porsha didn't feel that she could trust anyone in the circle, and when Sheree said, even me, Shamea confirmed it. So Porsha didn't point Sheree out, nor did she tell Shamea not to trust anybody in the group. Again, Porsha had had a tough trip. She got into it with multiple people who kept bringing up the stuff that she had done to Kandi. She was frustrated. She was leaving. And she might have said something just out of frustration and out of anger. But Porsha doesn't even know how that got back to Sheree. And then, Shamea explained that basically she's a bitch. Shamea is starting to look messier and messier to me. And I don't like that. I didn't like Shamea at first, initially, after the whole drinking the water out of Kenya's hair, product bottles at first. But then I kind of warmed up to her. But I think it's coming back around to the point where I don't really like Shamea. She's causing problems in the group. But moving on, Lauren starts to speak up for Porsha, and Sheree says that she shouldn't be. So things really don't go from there. I feel that Lauren shouldn't have necessarily interjected, but I also don't feel that Sheree should have been that nasty to Lauren. But moving on, Kim spoke up about trying someone's character, or like seeing how somebody's character is in trying situations. And Porsha was like, Kim, you can't speak on that ever because your character is questionable. And I was like, go ahead, go for the jugular, Porsha. Get Kim together, because we all know that Kim's character is questionable. So she can't deny that. But moving on, Porsha was about to explain that she was leaving Barcelona and that she was upset, and explaining basically what I said, that she was speaking out of frustration and saying that she couldn't really trust anybody. And Sheree just got lumped into that. And instead of allowing her to explain, Kim kept talking up like the way that Kim does, and interjects herself and talks under her breath and whatnot. And so Porsha was like, well, let's just have a conversation with you and me. And then Sheree had to bring up, oh, well, Lauren interjected and then Shamea interjected, so we can just have this conversation right now. And Kim and Sheree ended up just leaving. And it's like, once again, Porsha does not get a break with these girls. I can understand Sheree being upset about this, but this was not the time to have this conversation. She allowed the other girls to get into her head and to convince her to bring this up at this party right now. And she should have had a conversation with Porsha before this whole situation happened, not at this party in front of the other girls. They should have had the conversation in private. And Sheree just didn't know how to do that. Even when she brought the topic up, she was angry. Instead of explaining, well, this is what I heard from Shamea, and it really hurt my feelings. Can you tell me what you meant by that? Like, it's real simple to ask somebody to explain themselves when they hurt your feelings. But Sheree don't have the emotional intelligence to be able to do that. Or the emotional intelligence to let her know that this is not the time or the place to have this conversation. Come on. So Porsha is already on edge about this. Nene comes over to Porsha to talk to her. And it's like, why can't two women in this group have a conversation on their own? Somebody sees them talking, and then Marlo comes over and interjects herself into this conversation. Now, mind you, Marlo came over to expoligize. That's a good word. Like, I was trying to say apologize or explain, but expoligize is doing both. No, so I didn't know if Marlo was coming over to actually apologize or try to explain away her involvement in that situation in Barcelona. Either way, I felt like Marlo was trying to be the bigger person, and Porsha clearly was just not over the whole situation and didn't even want to look at her. And so Marlo, I think, was trying to be nice, but Porsha was not in the right frame of mind to receive that after just having that argument with Sheree. So Porsha walks off and Marlo kind of follows her around. Porsha acts as if she is above it all, and Marlo is a little upset. Nene just wants Marlo to let it go, and I think that she should. I just think that she caught Porsha at a very bad time. Now, that being said, Porsha was not open or receptive to receiving anything from Marlo at the time, and I don't think that was right. But Nene pulls Porsha to the side and asks how she can make it better now that so many people are mad at her all at once. Nene suggests doing a group apology, and Porsha says no because they're fake. And I just think Porsha is tired of being the bad guy. But moving on, they're giving out prizes for the party. Eva says Marlo, and Marlo gets all excited, and she says, "You are my runner-up," and Marlo looks shamed. That was funny to me. But Cynthia ends up winning, and she should have. She did a really good job on her costume. Now, you know, at the end of every season, they do the little summaries of how everybody is doing and what's going on in everybody's lives. And to be like real honest, nothing big is going on in any of the ladies' lives right now. A lot of those little summaries talked about things that the women had already done or had already finished. But we'll go ahead and speak on it a little bit. Cynthia is 51 now, thank goodness, so she can stop talking about being 50 Cent. She's still getting to know Will after dating him for 9 months, but y'all know how she is with the getting to know people type of thing. Nene is doing her comedy one-woman show. I'm surprised that people would even attend that. I don't think that Nene is stand-up funny, but get your money, girl. And her house is roach-free and Kim-free. Porsha is done with Two Can Play That Game and is open to more roles as long as they don't involve apologizing. Candy talked to the psychic, and Candy's music career is going to take off. But according to the psychic, the band is only going to stay together 2 to 3 years tops. Does that mean that Escape with just the three of the remaining members will disband soon? Maybe. We'll see in 2 or 3 years if it's true. Candy is done with the Escape tour and with Broadway, and now they're working on an OLG food truck, but they don't know if they're going to serve fake people. Chateau Sheree is finally complete, but the man cave is going to stay empty until 2022. That was the best shady moment of the little summaries at the end. Yeah, he's not getting out of jail anytime soon. Oh, I don't like Sheree. Whatever. Moving on. And Kenya is enjoying married life. So next time on the reunion, part 1 of Real Housewives of Atlanta season 10, hopefully they can play their cards right and get this reunion done in 2 episodes, but we'll see. They shortened the season, so maybe they'll shorten the reunions. So we see nobody's supposed to be getting off the couch. Candy looks like she's still mad at Porsha. Porsha can't get a word in edgewise. Eva is having contractions on stage. I totally forgot that she was pregnant, but clearly she is. She's very pregnant by the time the reunion aired. Simply Marlo LLC is a real business. I don't know. I haven't Googled it. If you Googled it, tell me what you found. But I wonder what Marlo was selling. Tyrone claimed that Nene was aggressively stalking him, and I don't really believe that. Nene said that we'll talk to him in 2022 when he gets out of jail. Oh, she called him Lyron. Kenya said that Marlo tried to blackmail Nene. I'm very interested in what that is. Nene said that she sucked somebody's ding-a-ling. I don't know what that was about. And then Kim gets her butt handed to her by the rest of the girls and ends up walking off stage. And hopefully this is the last we'll see of Kim on this show or anywhere else. Thank you guys for watching. This has been a longer video than I wanted it to be, but that's been my review of the season finale of season 10 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I will see you guys next week for my review on the first part of the reunion. Peace out, home slices. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.